Rachel. Welcome to my channel. I'm a health coach and I make videos on natural living and plants. I post a video on Mondays on natural living and on Wednesday and Saturday on houseplants and sometimes gardening things. So today I am taking my aquaponics sort of thing, my fish tank where I propagate plants that do really good in water propagation, that I'm not too concerned about them harming my fish at all. I am going to take those out and pot them up. I keep my fish tank in a southern window for right now anyways. I'm thinking eventually I might move it out of the window and having a grow light on top so that way there's not quite so much algae production in the tank. However, we have quite a few snails that have been keeping that under control and it's actually very healthy for the fish. Anyways, they have a very healthy ecosystem the way that it's going right now. But having the plants on top and propagating in there and taking in nutrients really helps there not be quite so much algae in the tank as well, and helps to take up the excess nutrients. That way the fish are healthier and happier. This also makes it to where I can propagate a lot of things very quickly and easily, and I don't have to change out the water all the time because my fish tank is a whole system that, you know, I of course I change out the water and I use the water to water some of my plants, but I'm not having to, you know, change my water every single day in just like a vase or whatever with my begonias and prayer plants, dumb canes, pothos, anything that's really good at propagating in water, I pretty much propagate in my fish tank. Anyways, here we go. I have a washcloth standing by just in case I get water everywhere, but as you can see, my fish tank has a lot of roots in there, and we have quite a few little fish. For our aquaponics, you can see that currently we are using yogurt containers in a piece of styrofoam basically that the yogurt containers sit into. There's holes punched in the bottom so that way the water gets into those. Then the plants grow up from the top. We have some plexiglass and we have some other cups to put and make this actually look more professional, but we just haven't done it because we're a little lazy sometimes. Inside here we have white clouds and guppies, and there may or may not be some neon tetras. We're not entirely sure about that because we've seen what looks like maybe neon tetras. Oh yeah, see? There's one. Anyways, you probably could not tell. There's not enough light actually inside the tank. So I put a curtain right there so that way it's not too bright being in a southern window. But so now my neighbors that drive by get to see a camera in my window. So that's cool. I have some pothos in here and begonias, cane begonias, like angel wing begonias, and I have prayer plants, dumb cane, and airplane plants. Over here you can see some arrowhead plants and airplane plants. I don't know, I might have more things in here hiding as surprises. Oh, also, check this out. This cactus is still blooming. Here, let me focus on it better. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh, I love how it's blooming all the time. I also have some purple heart in here too. I have a few jars. I'm just going to put all my propagations in. The only thing is that it's just like sometimes the roots get pretty tangled up when they've been in there for a while. But they do need to be in here for quite a while so that way their roots develop enough. Some of them develop within like a week, other ones take a couple months, it just depends. The prayer plant though was so fast, it was amazing. I'm just gonna put them all in here, put the taller ones in the bigger jar and the shorter ones in the smaller jars. Yeah. Oh, I forgot. So my cat knocked this over. He had he had brought a bird into the house and my husband was chasing him down, and anyways, this broke off, and so now I'm trying to rid it. I just stuck it in my fish tank and it looks like we might actually be successful. I'm just gonna set this to the side so that way I don't forget to put it back in there and it doesn't get mixed in with everything else. Woo! Wow! Look at that. These aren't quite as big as I would like them, but they're okay. We'll just go ahead and stick this in some soil. See, they develop all along the entire stem, wherever they're in the water, and there's a place for them to develop. So they're all the way up here even. Oh gosh, this one's even making new leaves lower down on the stem. And here's some pothos, which I think I'm going to go ahead and leave in here because I like to have pothos growing in my fish tank, and I kind of want some more in here. Oh! Yes! So this is an experiment. This ivy wasn't doing so great, and so I just stuck it in here to see how well it's doing, and it's living. Set this one to the side too. This one has been an experiment so far, this like silver pothos thing, but so far it's not really doing much. Oh. Oh. So this one is getting a little bleached by the sun, but now I have two good size plants actually right here. Okay, so this one is all cleared out. I'm gonna go ahead and put some plants back in it. Oh my goodness. Everything is actually separating though. I'm really surprised. Oh, this one had some pothos growing up inside of it. Okay, I might have to cut down this stem because that's a little insane. It has roots all along it. This is 3 of them all growing together, which is just fine. I will just plant them all together. Oh. Alright. I'm gonna go ahead and leave this in here for now. And I'm going to try to separate all of this. Oh my goodness gracious. There's one air plant. Did you take a good long nap in your chair? Oh, now he's going to itch himself. Gunther, are you such a cute boy? Did you have a good nap? You did. Look at these roots. Oh my goodness. Look at those roots on these things. They're so fat and meaty. This one has like its 2 babies connected to each other. Wow. Ooh, look. My grandma gave me this and all those spider plants, and she said this one would turn pink in the sun, and it has. Look how beautiful that is. I'm gonna go ahead and leave quite a bit of Tradescantia in there, my purple heart, and also pothos in there. Just that way my ecosystem doesn't get too thrown off. But I am going to add some more propagations in there later. Okay, now just to take these back into the back room and pot them up. In the back room you can see I have another fish tank. That's going to be part of some of the projects in this room. But I think I'm going to go ahead and put you guys over there so that way you can see from above. I needed some more light back here, so I went and got this lamp. I've been looking for a place for this lamp for a little while, and because it's just so pretty and I like it. But I think I might actually keep it in this room. That's going to be pretty cool, I think. So, can you guys see anything like at all? I have a whole bunch of pots. This might work a little better. Hopefully. In here, my husband and son found a cherry seed that is growing a little sprout, so they put it in a little pot. That's the nice thing about having a compost where you just throw everything. You end up finding things growing. I just realized I have no soil in here. Hang on a second. Now that I actually have a couple bags of soil, let's get to this. Well, I have like an eighth of a bag, if that, a 16th of a bag of soil. Oh, and a bucket of soil that I just dumped everywhere. Okay, let's do this. I added some extra perlite to this potting mix just so that way it's going to have more aeration in it, because these roots have been used to water propagation and it's so different from soil. I just wanted to make sure, well, I kind of want to try to help them along a little bit. Neat. Yeah, I can get away with a really nice small pot for this, since I actually cut them at a right spot instead of way long. You have such long, beautiful roots. You are gorgeous. Come on. I'm going to finish potting these up and I'm going to go charge my battery for a little bit, and when I'm done, then I'm going to show you how I cut my stems or whatever, like how I cut things, because I have a few things to propagate and I just stick them in the water. But I'll just show you that, I guess, for fun. For something like this, it's really easy. You just go in and so you find a spot under where a plant, I usually cut it just right before another leaf, and I just cut it off, and this is what I put in the soil or in the aquaponics. And usually I'll remove 1 to 2 leaves, because in the aquaponics or in the fish tank or in water, I just like to have a little bit more of a stem to keep the leaves out, so that way if the leaves are prone to rotting or going mushier or whatever from being in the water, they will be just fine. Here's a nice big stem. When I do things like this is me like trimming up my plants and taking care of them, and so I always go through and I remove any dead leaves, any kind of detritus, and check for bugs. Make sure that they're happy and healthy. So with this Tritiscantia, I cut it usually at the base of another leaf. This one's looking terrible. Oh, that broke off. I always have to trim this a lot. I had just moved this not that long ago, and so it's, there's some more dead leaves just from its transition. So it'll be a good time to trim this up. Okay. Over here I have a Maranta that I can cut this down at the stem if I want to. I'm working on getting this one to grow though. Right here I have a philodendron, and you can tell it's a philodendron by these aerial roots. If I was to pot this, it would have a little nub of a root. Hi kitty. And that is where you would put into the water for the roots to grow bigger. But they, I guess they will grow in soil. I always just put them in my fish tank and they do great. Come here, kitty. What I would look for is just to find these little aerial roots and cut that off. I prefer to cut it down a little farther just so that way I can remove some leaves and not have leaves in the water, although I've had pothos growing in the water just fine plenty of times. Right here is a monstera, just to show you another kind of root to look for. You can see these big old nubbies. They're really big, thick roots, aerial roots that start coming out. That's what you look for. You cut below that and before this next leaf coming out, and then you put that in the water. So I like to put the Tradescantia on the outsides just because they hang better that way. And then I put everything else in the cups, and it just seems to work pretty darn good at propagating anything that propagates in water well. It's been a few days and this is how most of them are doing. They take a little bit of getting used to being in soil, and so I like to keep them moist. Make sure that the soil still has moisture in it and does not dry out for quite a while. It's just an old leaf. But this begonia is doing great in the Tradescantia. This begonia is doing okay. I should have cut it down more. It's still alive and it's not dying. It's just not as happy as I would like for it to be. So I might actually go ahead and I'll show you a little closer. I might go ahead and actually cut it. See where this leaf just broke off? Cut it right here and stick it back in my propagation. Take off this leaf and stick it in a little bit better. So that way it's not going to be so bendy and flopping over. Because this is just not how I want it to be. This Maranta is doing okay. And the spider plants are doing fine. But these Marantas are doing great. They have new leaves that they're getting in the aquaponics, and they're still doing really good. So I'm very impressed with these ones, how well they're doing. There's another angel wing begonia that's doing good, and this one too. So far I really only have like this one that's not doing as good, and this one too. Because this one is doing great. There's all this new growth still. It's has some old leaves on it from being in the aquaponics for a while. They're just old leaves they need to take off. I should have done this as a smaller stem at the time, but I don't always pay attention to that as much when I'm cutting them, and I just trim them up and stick them in the water. So they are doing very nicely. So remember, it's very important when you transplant them to make sure that they stay moist, but also that the soil is very aerated, because they're used to a lot of air in the water, and the roots are just different than soil roots. The roots just have to take a little bit of time to acclimate and to adjust and make more roots that are more suitable to the soil. But I just find that a lot of the times it's easier just to propagate them in water first. I like to get some roots started, so that way they're at least taking something up and they're not just sitting there trying to push roots. Being in the fish tank with all those nutrients, it just seems to really push the roots out quickly compared to just being in water. Things that propagate very well in water do extremely well in the aquaponics. Even like lettuces will keep growing in there as long as it still has like some roots at the bottom, or your celeries, things like that you can grow in your aquaponics. Things like ZZ plants and sansevierias, those sorts of things you can propagate with water. However, in my experience, they can get a little mushy, and if it doesn't take, it can go bad. And I don't want that in my fish tank, so I'm not going to be putting those in with my aquaponics. I've had quite a few different kinds of things in there, so really it's just up to you on what you want to try, and anything that you've had success with in regular water propagation, or things that you want to try water propagation but you don't want to change the water all the time, I recommend putting in your fish tank, just so that way you don't have to do the daily maintenance with it. It's much easier. All you have to do is make sure that your fish are taken care of and the fish tank is healthy. So, but also having the plants in there helps to take up extra nutrients, and so that makes the plants do better. For one thing, they can actually grow while they're in there and growing roots. They also help take up the extra nutrients in the fish tank, so they lessen the load of nutrients in your fish tank. So I hope you found this video helpful and informative, at least. And if you have any additional questions, please don't hesitate to put them in the comment section below, and I will answer you to the best of my knowledge and my experience with this. We've been propagating things in our aquaponics for like 7 years now, and we've just had success with it this whole time. So I do hope you have a really great day, and I will talk to you later. Bye!